Hello YouTube, welcome to Mountain Bungelow. I thought today I would show you the insulation project that I've got going on. When I bought the house, it had no roof insulation, which as you can imagine, makes for a very hot summer. These ceiling fans are another project that I'll detail out for you at another time. But my tactic, I didn't want to put in like traditional bat insulation and cover up all the wood. Most of it's going to be covered up, but I wanted to leave the rafters open and exposed. So I've got 2-inch rigid Owens Corning rigid insulation, and I'm putting 2 layers of that and then wrapping the second layer in a dark gray fabric. I think I'm going to have a couple of panels that are something with a little more style and flair than just dark gray. But I did try out several colors and kind of landed on that one. I had, I think, black, dark brown, navy blue, and there's a lot of black trim in this house, so I'm kind of keying off of that. So before I put the second layer on, I'm using a self-adhered membrane, which is really kind of an exterior roofing product with kind of it's called a bituminous membrane. It's like a tar layer with a PVC lining on the outside of it here. So it's just kind of peel and stick. I can show you if you pardon the mess around the house. But this is the self-adhered membrane, and it just peels apart, which is not easy to do with one hand. It peels apart, and then it's kind of a tacky tar substance, bituminous substance. So the goal in that is to seal the first layer completely, so there's no air gap up against the rafters. You know, if I just left it unsealed, there would be penetration through there. And the issue is if you lost my train of thought. If you allow air to pass through, as air is passing through, you know, all air has some level of humidity in it, and you would need a vapor barrier either on the, you know, up against the siding, the roof sheathing, or below the rigid insulation, which actually in this environment, you want the vapor barrier on the warm side. So that would be the roof sheathing side. And my way of getting around that, rigid insulation doesn't allow air to pass through like bat insulation does. And sealing with the self-adhered membrane creates an airtight barrier. It's kind of negligible, you know, what's going to come through the roof sheathing and the tar paper and the shingles that are up on the roof, but it's a precautionary measure, and I just want to make sure I'm covering my bases on that. So the ultimate goal, well, you know, the immediate goal is to get the first layer closed up, and we'll walk over here to the kitchen too, and I can show you some more panels. Yeah, so the immediate goal is to get the first layer buttoned up entirely, you know, 100%, and work my way through with the fabric wrapped panels. And I've kind of gotten lucky with most of these panels. The first layer had a little bit of a gap on most of them at the rafters, so I tacked some deck screws into the rafters to kind of hold those in place. And the fabric panels, I've gotten lucky so far with most of them, where the thickness of the fabric wrapping around it gives me a nice interference fit. So they just kind of fit snugly up in there. And you can actually see I kind of got a little deep in the self-adhered membrane on this one panel up in the corner. So that was one of the first ones that I had flashed, and learned my lesson on that. You know, perhaps at some point I'll get up there and trim that down and fix it, but fortunately it's kind of hidden up in the corner there. So back to the ultimate goal, I need to continue this run up into the loft area, which I'll show you that on another video. And ultimately, I'll be putting standing seam metal roof when I replace the comp shingles. They've probably got 5 to 10 years left on them. Not in the best shape, but you know, a few years left. I would like to replace them with the standing seam metal to protect against fire danger, one, increase the, improve the exterior look of the house. And when I do that, I can then place another 2-inch layer of this rigid. It'll probably actually be polyiso, which is just a little bit different. It's more rated for exterior use, but it will lay on the top of the roof sheathing and have a vapor barrier applied to the top of that, taped probably with this self-adhered membrane, and then the standing seam metal roof put on that. So that will give me, these two panels give me R20 insulation, which is kind of light for roof insulation. You try to get, R30 or higher, depending on your climate zone. But this R20 is better than R0. And when I replace the roof, that'll be another 2-inch layer, which actually I think polyiso is a little bit higher than R10, R5 per inch. So a 2-inch layer should give me about another R12, R14, which will bring the entire assembly up to, R38. But this has been kind of a priority for me. I just got through summer 2022 here, and the weather's pretty mild. I'm at 3,500 feet in Pollock Pines. I don't know if I've mentioned that before, but if it was 80 degrees outside, you could feel the heat bearing down through this roof. And I work from home most of the time, so I needed a comfortable environment. So this really was a priority for me. So that's about it. I need to run these panels into the loft area, but it's less of a priority because the loft sits over the 2 bedrooms, which have roof insulation in the ceiling. This house originally had, an 8-foot high ceiling throughout, and when previous owners remodeled it, they took the ceiling out, which, is a great look, and I love the remodel, but it just left some deficiencies. As far as winter, it'll definitely help, having more insulation always helps, but I've also got a pretty hefty wood stove here in the living room, so it cooks this place out. It's not a very, very big house, just under 700 feet on the first floor here. And I mean, there's a finished basement, but that's separate from the main body of the house. But yeah, so this wood stove really cooks out the entire house. So there will be a lot of heat loss until I get this insulation buttoned up, but it's not as much of a priority for winters as it is for summers. So lastly, I will let you say goodbye to Angus. That's it. Have a good day. Thanks.